Hey everyone, this is my motivation interview assignment, and for my interview process, I interviewed 12 males and 13 females, to which it was a majority of friends, but a few family members as well. And 'cause I have a little sister, so I wanted to hear her take, but I also wanted to grill a couple of her friends, being a big brother, so. And majority of the ages in the interview process were between 20 and 23, but obviously with my little sister and her friends, there was a couple younger ages mixed in. But as far as the definition of motivations, I experienced a lot of similar answers. They were all kind of slightly worded differently, but I noticed a lot of similarity. Um, to start with that is 8 out of 25 people I interviewed describe motivation simply as the drive to do something, which I feel like a lot of us probably experienced in our interview process. And then along those lines, 2 people had described it more as the power to do something when you feel like you can't. And then 2 other people, kind of going off that as well, described motivation more as an emotion that helps complete a task at hand. I thought that was kind of interesting to see. And another one, big, I can totally relate with this, was their definition is just the will to become better every single day. And then another interesting response that I got from a former Marine who's a great friend of mine is he described motivation simply as discipline. And he said motivation will always fail you, and you can't choose when you are and aren't motivated. So it's just having that strong discipline, and he said that is what should motivate you to do better. So that was kind of interesting to see from a response. Then next to things that motivated my interviewees, the idea of people and relationships was mentioned a lot, specifically family, which was 12 times, and friends, which was 6 times. And then another answer a lot of us probably got was money as motivation, and I received that answer 9 times. And then the idea of the future was also used 6 times, and that was kind of interesting to see. I liked seeing that. Another odd but cool response I got was the idea of fear as motivation, which I saw 3 times, worded kind of differently though, which was someone said the fear of missing out, and then fear of being unprepared, and the fear of failure. And then to go off of that, the idea of potential happiness, just happiness in general, was mentioned 5 times. And the idea of self-improvement was mentioned 4 times. And then another solo answer from another friend that was mentioned, that was cool to see, was he said an idea of motivation for him was bringing glory to God. And I thought that was a cool answer to see. And then next to a time when participants lacked motivation, and especially with the grouping of ages, I expected this to be a very similar answer, and it was, which was school was a big contributor to my participants lacking motivation, and it was especially mentioned once COVID hit. It became even a lot harder for all of them, especially with going online and not having anything in person. So pretty much everyone had mentioned that. And then another friend though, he had mentioned that he had goals that he had set before and he reached them, and so he set new bigger goals and he was unable to fulfill them, and that was that caused a big lack of motivation in his life. And then another similar answer I got at least 5 times was the idea of work causing a lack of motivation. And the main response was that they felt they could be doing something better. And so I was curious to see, and I went back and checked, and all the people that said work and they don't want to be there, they also did not mention money being a motivating factor. So I just kind of wanted to compare and see, and they kind of stayed true to their word. So that was cool to see. And then the idea of self-reflection through this process, I thought it was a great interview experiment. I didn't get embarrassed. I rather felt like I got closer to everyone I interviewed. Majority of my interviewees, they all wanted to hear my side of motivation as well. And so they kind of tossed some questions back at me, and we got to chatting some more about motivation and just some kind of other stuff we've been going through in class. So I really thought it was a great project, and I had a lot of fun through this process, and I definitely took some things out of this experiment as well. I don't think my idea of motivation was changed necessarily, but was opened up more, to which now I was kind of able to emphasize and put myself in my friends' shoes and relate with their ideas. And so I just kind of found this as a really beneficial experiment that also just helped me gain a better understanding of motivation and how it works with other people as well. So I definitely think this was a great experiment for us to do as a class.